Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Amina Asghar here from Chemistry Department, University of Education Lahore. This is the fifth lecture of the chapter Quality Control and Quality Assurance. Course code is CAM 2112 and Analytical Chemistry. The topics we are going to discuss today are calibration, monitoring, quality reviews, and periodical trainings. These are actually a bit smaller topics, so I thought to combine all these together in one lecture. So hopefully you are going to enjoy the basic concept of all this. Now, the key concepts which will be covered in this lecture are number one, the calibration and the understanding of calibration. What do you mean by calibration, and what is the importance of studying calibration? All relevant things, concepts regarding the calibration will be covered in this. The second one is the monitoring, and in monitoring we will be discussing the meaning of monitoring, definition of monitoring, application of monitoring, then the quality reviews, and what is the difference between the reviews and the monitoring, and then the periodical trainings. What do we mean by periodical trainings, and then how these are beneficial during this whole process of quality assurance and quality control. Calibration is to ascertain the caliber of something, also to determine, to rectify or mark the graduations of something, such as a thermometer. Calibration also means to standardize something, such as a measuring instrument, by determining the deviation from a standard so as to ascertain the proper correction factors, right? Calibration can also be taken as to adjust precisely for a particular function, calibrate a thermometer, to measure precisely, carefully calibrate the dosage of a medicine. So that means that the calibration is a term which is not only applicable to the instruments and the apparatus, but it is also applicable to the dosage of the medicine. That means it is applicable to the pharmaceutical field as well. It ensures that the client quality monitoring team, supervisors and trainers can evaluate the agent performance and improve the customer service if they are providing the customer service, right? So that means that the calibration again is applicable on the instruments, the equipments, the apparatus, the medicine or the chemicals, the dosage of the medicines, and plus on the services as well. That means we can apply the calibration on improvement of the customer service and improvement of the performance of our agents or the workers in our team as well. Now, the calibration is the process of comparing an instrument's accuracy. And how you can compare the accuracy of an instrument? You can compare the accuracy by comparing it with the standard values. So a comparison between the instruments values and the standard values will give you a comparison, and that comparison is actually the process of calibration, right? So when calibrating the equipment, compare across the entire measurement range of the equipment. That means you cannot do this, that you will just take one part or one range of the equipment's reading. You cannot do this. You have to take from the start to the end. You have to compare each and everything, and by doing this you can get the value of the calibration for that equipment for the whole range, right? Calibration means matching the standard values of the instrument to the master instrument value. The master instrument value can also be known as the true values, right? So we can use the term true value for an instrument or master value for an instrument. So you can compare the value of an instrument with the standard value or the true value, and you can do the process of calibration. So you can say that the calibration in the measurement technology and metrology is the comparison of the measurement values delivered by a device under test with those of a calibration standards of known accuracy. That means you must be knowing the exact value, the true value, and then you can compare and get the value of calibration for a particular machine or particular instrument, or for a particular technology. Requirement for calibration. Calibration is a comparison between a known measurement, that is the standard, and the measurement using your instrument, right? So what is required for the calibration is that you must be having the data or the values from your instrument, and the data or the values from a standard, or you can say the true value or the standard value, right? So you must be having the two things, and then you can do the comparison. Typically speaking, the accuracy of the standard should be 10 times the accuracy of the measuring device being tested. The ideal scenario is that the standard should be 10 times in accuracy to the value or to the data of your measuring device, right? So now, if it is not the case that it is 10 times, तो ये है कि minimum जो requirement है, then the accuracy ratio should be 3:1. This is acceptable by most of the standard organizations, but below this, no, it is not acceptable. So the ideal situation is that it should be 10:1, or if you are decreasing the value, minimum value can be 3:1. तो वो acceptable है, otherwise it will not be acceptable. Okay, the calibration, basic principle of calibration. Calibration is the process of adjusting an instrument or equipment to meet the manufacturer's specification. Okay, if you remember, we said that to calibrate something means to check and adjust something if necessary and or possible. If you are working on an instrument or piece of equipment to meet the manufacturer's specification for input and output throughout a specified range of use or operation, right? So we said that the process of calibration can help to ensure that a device is performing accurately, predictably, and reliably, right? So calibration making you make you help to get a reliable, predictable, and accurate instrument. Measurements and adjustments are made within certain tolerance limit. Actually, when we say this, we say that the calibration is actually certified through the process of issuing a report or certificate assuring the end user of a product with its specification, with its characteristics. Calibration is carried out by comparing the readings or dimensions of an instrument with those given by a reference standard. We have discussed this, right? So reference instruments are sent out regularly to be calibrated against a recognized national standard, right? तो इसका मतलब ये हो गया कि the basic principle of the calibration is actually adjusting the instrument or the equipment to meet the manufacturer's specification. जो वो स्पेसिफाई कर रहे हैं कि ये चीज़ ऐसे परफॉर्म करने जा रही है, ये चीज़ ऐसे परफॉर्म करेगी, इस चीज़ को ऐसे परफॉर्म करना चाहिए, तो उसके साथ हम मीट करने की कोशिश करते हैं. Okay. Now, purpose of instrument calibration. Why we are doing this? Virtually all equipments degrade in some fashion over the time. Once you have started using the equipment, with the passage of time, they start degrading. As the components of the equipment age, they lose the stability and drift from their published specification towards the you can say a situation where they can cause the errors, right? So even normal heading handling of the machine can adversely affect the calibration, and rough handling can throw a piece of equipment completely out of the calibration, even though it may appear to be okay physically. Regular calibration assures that the equipment continually meets the specification required. Okay, so that means the main purpose is of the calibration is referring to the act of evaluating and adjusting the precision and accuracy. Precision and accuracy both are important. Precision, that it works in the same way in every reading. That means it is giving the readings which are closer to each other, and not creating a lot of variation in the readings, and plus those readings are close to the accurate reading, right? So adjusting the precision and accuracy of the measurement equipment. Instrument calibration is intended to eliminate. The first thing is to eliminate. The second thing is to, if you cannot eliminate, okay, reduce, at least reduce the bias in an instrument's reading over a range for all continuous values and the readings. Quality assurance calibration. Now, if you remember, we have discussed the quality assurance earlier, and we said that this is actually the process of maintenance of a desired level of quality in a service or a product, especially by means of attention to every stage of the process of delivery or production, right? And we said that the quality assurance managers play a crucial role in the business, in the industry, by ensuring that the products meet certain thresholds of acceptability. That means they plan, direct, or coordinate quality assurance programs and formulate the quality control policies. They also work to improve an organization's efficiency and profitability by reducing the waste, right? So we have discussed these concepts in the previous lectures. Now, quality assurance calibration. Now, the calibrations which are helping us in the process of quality assurance. So QA calibration is where everyone is responsible for doing quality assurance in the organization come together. They come together for what? To rate the same interaction or interactions, ensuring that the interactions are aligned and upholding the same expectation level of the quality, right? So they are helping in maintaining the quality. Calibration is a process of comparing a reading on one piece of the equipment or system with another piece of system equipment that has been calibrated and referenced to a known set of parameters. That means you must be having a known set of parameters, you must be having a reference, and then you can do the comparison, right? So the reference should itself be directly traceable. Reference को खुद traceable होना चाहिए. Either it should be directly traceable or it is calibrated according to the ISO standards, right? So we can say that calibration interval for the process can vary greatly within an industry or a plant or a pharmacy or a service. Frequency depends on the equipment and the application. As a rule, however, calibration should be performed at least once a year, right? So this should be mentioned in the process of calibration, that how much will be the frequency and when will be the calibration process will be doing. Okay, in more critical applications the frequency will be much greater, and for the calibration again frequency is important, and this is important that you must be having the proper reference, and the reference should be traceable or it should be calibrated according to the ISO standards. Goal of calibration. The goal of calibration is to minimize any measurement uncertainty by ensuring the accuracy of the test equipment. Okay, now calibration quantifies and controls errors or uncertainties within the measurement process to an acceptable level. Requirement of quality management process. One essential ingredient or part to a great quality management process or the maintenance of a desired level of quality in a service or product is, especially by means of attention to every stage of the process of delivery or production, is actually the regular calibration sessions, right? That means if you want to maintain a great quality management process, that means maintenance of the quality up to a desired level, whether it is a service or a product, what you have to do is you have to keep a regular calibration sessions for the whole system. Methods for calibration. It is important to do regular calibration sessions with your quality assurance team to continuously improve the alignment between the things, between the data, between the ratings, right? Typically, you will find that when you implement a new quality assurance form or add new members to the quality team, you will be requiring to calibrate more frequently, like once in a week at least. But as the team grows more aligned, you can space sessions out to be bi-weekly, right? You can make the frequency in once in 2 weeks. There are a few different formats for the calibrations which can be followed for the process of doing the calibration of the things. Method 1. In method 1, what you have to do is you have to review and grade first and then discuss. So in this method, this is a recommended method for especially ongoing calibrations, and it works like this, that each member of the quality management team receives the interactions or the protocol, and then they grade the system, and then they do the discussion, right? So they grade them and then submit the record independently. Okay, someone on the team compiles the scores of every person of the team, every member of the team, and then they highlights the differences. Okay, then the group comes together and talks about their differences. The end result should be a calibrated score that everyone agrees on, right? So everyone will sit together and they will discuss and they will talk about the differences and they will talk about the similarities, and they will get out some results from it, and then they will calculate, they will be submitting a calibrated score that and that score will be that on which everyone agrees on. Method 2. Method 2, review together and grade together. Now in this method, what they do is they sit together, they review together, and they grade together. The second common method for the calibration is as follows. All the members of the quality team come together. Okay, they review the interactions together, while sitting together. Okay, and then they grade the interactions together, and finally they report the findings of their meeting and they report it. Measuring the success of the process of calibration. At the end of the calibration session, you should be able to measure its success by calculating the variance in the score. So more the variance, that means greater the value of standard deviation. Lesser the variance, that means the scores are closely related to each other. Okay, so the best way to calculate the variance is to measure the average difference between each score and the agreed upon scored, which is agreed upon calibrated score. You will take that value and you will take every single value from the data and you will take the difference, and then you can calculate the average variance of the method, and then by taking this value of the variance you can calculate the value of the calibration, success of the calibration. Monitoring. This is the next topic in the discussion. Monitoring is the ongoing process of regularly calculating and analyzing the relevant information to make sure you are doing what you set out to do. Okay, so actually monitoring is the systematic process, and this is the process of collecting, analyzing, and using the information to track a program's progress towards reaching its objectives and to guide the management decisions. Monitoring usually focuses on the processes such as when and where the activities occur, who delivered them, and how many people or entities they reach. Monitoring is actually conducted after a program has begun, right? After the program has begun, the monitoring will be conducted and continues throughout the program implementation period. Monitoring is sometimes referred to as process, performance, or formative evaluation, right? So it tends to happen continuously. Monitoring, it tends to happen continuously, but sets of information may be gathered together at regular intervals. For example, maybe quarterly. Monitoring, evaluation, and reviews are not very isolated actions. They are connected with each other, and they are actually the parts of the same process, helping in maintaining the quality, helping in attaining the quality, helping in improving the quality. So monitoring is a very key part of the quality management system, and it helps a lot in all the process of management. Evaluation and reviews. Evaluation is actually a process when you assess whether what you have been doing is really making the difference that you intended it to do. It tends to happen less frequently. That means evaluation tends to happen less frequently. For example, annually or at the end of the longer term projects. So this is actually systematic assessment of an active project program, strategy and policy topics, themes, sectors, operational areas or institutional performances. Evaluation focuses on expected and achieved accomplishments. Examining the results, examining the result chains actually, inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes and impacts, processes and uh, other factors. Actually, in order to understand the achievements or the lack of achievements, evaluation is going to help you. Evaluation helps and aims at determining the relevance, impact, effectiveness, efficiency, and sustainability of the things which are happening together and the contributions of the interventions to the results achieved, right? So that means this is again the assessment process, this which is systematic, and this helps you to have an idea that something which you have planned is actually going in the same way where you have planned to go, or it is deviating from that aim or that objective. Okay, so usually we say that evaluation happens less frequently, और फ्रीक्वेंसी इसकी ये भी हो सकती है कि ये एक साल में एक दफ़ा हो, या ये भी हो सकती है कि कोई लॉन्गर टर्म प्रोजेक्ट हो तो उसके एंड पे आप जो है ना वो evaluation कर लें. Review. A review is when you look at the result of an evaluation. You have gone through the evaluation, and now you are going to look at the results of your evaluation. That is the review, and decide whether it needs to change or not. Information from monitoring may also prompt a review of a smaller area of your work. मतलब ज़रूरी नहीं है कि कोई बहुत बड़ा एरिया है तो उसी के ऊपर नहीं, छोटे एरिया पे भी आप कर सकते हैं. But a substantial review can only take place once a proper evaluation of your effectiveness has taken place. That means the review is always after a proper evaluation of the work, right? So review may take place annually or at the end of the longer term project, because it's happening exactly after the evaluation. So, and we are saying that the evaluation happens annually or at the end of a longer term project. So same is the case with the review as well. And one thing more, that the monitoring and evaluation of the things which are happening against the against the plan, इन द रिव्यू हम उसको डिसाइड करते हैं कि अब हमने इसको कैसे टैकल करना है और इसके साथ हमने क्या करना है, सो दैट वी कैन इम्प्रूव द सिचुएशन. ओके ओके जी. मॉनिटरिंग एंड रिव्यू स्ट्रेटेजी. Time should be dedicated to monitoring and reviewing the long-term success of the projects once they are operational. A monitoring and review strategy will seek to effective monitoring and review will help the long-term sustainability of the projects by identifying the success of the project and prompt action to address the problems or unsuccessful elements of a project. So we can say that the monitoring and reviewing uh, uh, helps to assess what is working and what is not, make adjustments to plans and strategies, discuss new work frame and workforce. Okay, consider at the beginning of the process what qualitative and quantitative data needs to be collected so that baseline data can be established and the progress measured. Okay, so decide what lead and lag indicators provide the highest value of the highest value to the valuation. So these are some key points regarding the monitoring and review strategy which you have to follow, and by following this you can get a better monitoring and a better review and a better decision to work on. Okay, again talking about the monitoring, evaluation and review. Plan for monitoring, evaluation and review at the beginning of your work. That means you cannot do it, oh अब ये problem आ गई है तो अब क्या करना है, कैसे monitor करना है, कैसे evaluate करना है. No, what you have to do is you have to plan for the monitoring, for the evaluation and for the review at the beginning of your work. Trying to collect information to prove your worth in retrospective is extremely difficult. आप एक रेट्रोसेप्टिक सिचुएशन में फंस गए हैं या आप उसमें आ गए तो उस वक्त फिर अब ये है कि आप एट द स्पॉट आप इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो वो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा. अगर आपसे पहले से ये डिसाइड किया हुआ कि ये सिचुएशन होगी और इस तरह से इंफॉर्मेशन इकट्ठी करनी है और ये इंफॉर्मेशन इकट्ठी करेगा और ऐसे इंफॉर्मेशन इकट्ठी करेगा, so it will be easier to do the process of monitoring and evaluation. It is also important to decide the level of detail of the information required, right? And to identify the key indicators that reflect your aims and objectives as laid out in your business plan. All right? A key indicator is something that you can measure to show whether you are or not achieving your aims and objectives. The change in the measurements of these key indicators will give a picture of how you are performing over the time. So this will give you an idea that how you are performing over the time, and the performance is good or bad, and is it according to your aims and objectives or is it varying from that. So all this data, all this information, piece of information you can get from your process of what you call the monitoring and evaluation. Possible risk in the process of monitoring, evaluation and the reviews. Actually, risk is an important matter for voluntary management committee members to consider. That means this is an important thing which should be considered and discussed about. A business plan should include an assessment of the risks associated with the project to see if there are any weakness or drawback or flaw in the program, and if there are any, if there are threats to its viability of the program. So you must be aware of the weaknesses of the program and you must be aware of the threats to the programs, so that in case any of these you have to face at any stage of your process, you can handle them carefully. Information through this process. Monitoring, evaluation and review is not always a single process or a simple process. As a first step, you should always ask yourself this question: what information is required by the process of monitoring, what information is required by the process of evaluation, and what information is actually required by the process of review. So, which information will provide that what I am doing is making the difference? That means making the difference with reference to the quality. Is the quality is improving by doing all this, or it is standing on the same stage? So this is an important thing you have to work on. So remember, effective monitoring, evaluation, and review will help your organization's life and organization service. It will improve the organizational service. Monitoring, evaluation, and review. These are actually the essential components of any quality management system and any adaptation planning system. And these should not be neglected. Actually, the trigger indicators and performance indicators, these can be monitored and the result used to determine when actions should be implemented and to track the success of the adaptation process plan and the quality system. This can be assessed by doing the process of monitoring, evaluation, and the reviews. Effective monitoring, evaluation, and reviews uh, underpin the planning cycle, right? So they play an important role, and they are telling you about the success story of the process. Monitoring, evaluation, and review is not the end of the adaptation planning cycle, but it is the beginning, or you can say it is the new beginning from where you can start the process of improvement, process of betterment of the product, or of the cycle, or of the system, for 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 getting the better results and for the making the customer and consumers more satisfied. Okay ji, periodical trainings. Improvement involves change, and training prepares the employees for the change by providing the skill needed to work as a team member, communicate effectively, and identifying and solving the problems. That means if you are providing a periodical training to an employee, that will help in many aspects. It can help you in preparing your employees for a change, for a better change in the system, in the equipment, in the machines. The trainings can help them to get the skills which are required as a worker, as a team member. The trainings can help them in communicating better or effectively, and definitely the trainings can help them to identify and solve the problems which can be there in a system, right? So a quality training program requires certain elements for it to be successful. For example, a change in the company's culture, if it's happening, there is a change in the culture of the company, definitely a training can help the employees to get adapted to the change in the culture. Support of the top management, a strategy to guide the company, communicating to employees the reason for the quality improvement and how the change will affect them, because the changes can affect them both positively and negatively. So if a change is affecting them positively, uh, get them know, uh, get them prepared for adopting that change, providing the proper training and proper uh, chance, and providing it at the proper time. Now this is also important, that you are providing proper training at the proper time. Both the factors are important, right? And evaluating the training process, मतलब आपने training provide की है, एग्जैक्टली जो रिक्वायर्ड पर्पस है उसके ऊपर आपने ट्रेनिंग उन्हें दी है, और उसके बाद उसको ठीक टाइम पे दी है, whatsoever the time proper for the training, आपने उस time पे training provide की, and then what you have to do is you have to evaluate कि आपने जो training provide की दी है उन्हें, उसके जो results आपने सोचे हुए थे, are you getting those results or you are not getting those results? If you are not getting those results, how you can do any change in the process of training then, right? So training at different times at the regular frequency make the employees more satisfied and more trained and more happier, right? Some general benefits from the employee training and development, we can say that increased job satisfaction and morale among the employees, increase employee motivation, increase efficiencies in the process resulting in the financial gain, increase capacity to adopt new technologies and methods, increase innovation in the strategies and products. These are all general benefits which we can get from the periodical employee trainings in an organization. Some more benefits which we can get from the training the employees of an organization are: number one, economy in operations. Trained personnel will be able to make better and economical use of the materials and equipments. Wastage will be lower. This is one of the very important factor. The second thing is greater productivity. A well-trained employee usually shows greater productivity and higher quality of the work output than an untrained employee. Training increases the skill of the employee in the performance of a particular job, and increase in the skills usually helps to increase both the quantity and quality of the output. This is also very important thing to get the better quality and better production. The third is the uniformity of the procedures. With the help of training, the best available methods of the work can be standardized and make available to all employees. Standardization will make high levels of performance rule rather than the expectations. Next is the less supervision. If the employees are given proper training, the responsibility of the supervision is lessened. Training does not eliminate the need for supervision, yes, but it reduces the need for detailed and constant supervision because the employees are well aware of their work and well aware of their machines and well aware of their equipment, so they can work better with all these things. Greater productivity, we have discussed this, that we can get better productivity and better results with lesser supervision. Then we can say that by using all this periodical training and the development programs, we can get the better results and better equipped team of the team working on any project, and we can get the better quality product from it. So after all this healthy long discussion on monitoring, evaluation and calibration and periodical trainings, what I am expecting from you people is that you can answer some of the very basic questions neatly and nicely. The question one is, what do you mean by calibration? You have to tell me the meaning of calibration, the basic idea of calibration, and how it works in a quality management system, right? So you have to answer this question. The question two is, what if we do not adopt the practice of calibrating a method or an instrument in use? So if you are using an uncalibrated method or uncalibrated instrument, what can be the side effects or the drawbacks of this? You have to answer this question as well, right? So, and then the question three is, what are the benefits of monitoring a process? So the first thing is, just let me know that what do you mean by monitoring. Okay, once you have told me that this is monitoring, then tell me that what are the benefits of doing the monitoring in a process. If you are doing this, what are the benefits, and if you are not doing, what are the drawbacks, right? So you have to tell me this thing as well. The question 4 is, what is the difference between the evaluation and review? Very nice basic question. You have gone through it. So tell me, what is evaluation, what is review, and what is the difference between evaluation and review? Okay.